Oh, so we've got Wolfman in the season and in the park. Almost the end of the season. What's the show? It is Radio and Juliet. Radio and Juliet.
I was going to start making requests. Then I decided to let her warm up in her routine.
I don't know the name of it. I'm not the choreographer or artistic director, but I don't know as of yet. Whole situation. Do you drive the repel in your head? No. Okay, you've been sparking joy. Everyone next to you along the way.
I think I saw it in your bag. I can't remember why I was like, I think she's with her. I think she got that way.
Yeah, that was that text me since I was talking to texting.
Oh no, yeah, that makes sense.
Learning that, do you fall a lot? No, never?
No, I mean sometimes. I try not to.
I mean, when you're doing the, like, your toes. When you were younger.
Oh, when I was younger, yeah. When you're younger, it's harder, but I've learned to control it. I mean, sometimes when the floor's slippery, you'll like,
Yeah.
Not strong, hopefully.
I was thinking that during the Olympics, some of those, like, skiing things and the jumps, and oh my God. I thought, that's the perfected performance. What was it like getting to that point?
Yeah.
I'm sure they fall a lot and land on.
Yeah, you do fall, for sure.
Evie, a little girl once in church, though, she always walked on her toes, like that's just how she always walked. And it was funny, it was so, curious that you don't see that every day. She liked it walking on. What's the hardest position and what is it?
It's called choreographer, the variation of
It is very cold.
But is there a ballet position that's your hardest to do?
Are there different types of positions?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, because
the basic positions are this is first, this is second, this is fourth, this is fifth, and this is third, but you never actually use third. Also, I guess sometimes you do, but rarely. That's like what you do at the bar to warm up.
Yeah.
And then I guess like the hardest thing to do is like
Hopping is hard. Don't do it when you're on the carpet.
Sorry.
Hopping, you can hop. Yeah. You don't like hopping on one foot?
Just so you know, there's no path under you.
Yeah.
Very thin carpet.
It's just concrete. I don't want you to tear up your shoes.
No.
Tear up a little fun side fact: a pair of point shoes is $150-ish. And how many do you go through a month?
Probably 4 of them.
Wow.
I can understand that. Trust me.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I've learned to start dancing in boots, so I get a little more utility out of them.
Is it hard to get used to working at a party? Is that a hard part?
It depends. I mean, before I came here to Oklahoma, I really didn't partner much. I was from like a small school, so this kind of was my first time partnering when I got here. But the teachers here are really great, so they helped me get used to it faster, probably. But you just have to trust the person.
Right. That's gotta be a good thing.
Yeah, trust them, because if you like hesitate or hold back, then that's mess up a lot.
Oh wow. So solo dancing is different than dancing with a partner.
Yeah.
Okay. You got another pair of arms and legs flying around with you.
Yeah, you got a man to lift you up and turn you and everything.
So okay. I'm not gonna ask.
Because when it's just you, you're relying on your own self. You work with somebody else.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they actually, when I first started partnering here, my partners were telling me to stop relying only on myself because I would like hold myself up instead of like them holding me up, which is what they're supposed to do.
Right.
Because I was so used to doing it all by myself.
So what would the first thing you would advise when dancing a man and woman? Because you're mentioning partnering. What would be the first thing?
Ballet is a unique thing that's different than social dancing, for sure.
Yeah. I think it takes a lot of trust in your partner. Because if you're with someone you don't trust to let you fall in, it's not going to go
Really
well.
more tense than the left. Yeah.
Like ice skating.
Yeah.
To some extent.
So
Welcome, everybody. We do need to start on time.
Okay,
There
good.
is another teaching commitment right after this. Not sure where everybody is tonight. Yeah. But you're here, and we have a wonderful presentation tonight that Erica from the Oklahoma City Ballet put together for us, and has some things to show us and pass around. And then Jessica is transforming into Firebird in there and going to come out and dance the Firebird for you to see. So, thank you very much for being here, and let's get started.
Absolutely. So, my name is Erica Portell. I'm the Director of Community Engagement at Oklahoma City Ballet. And I'm so excited anytime I get an opportunity to nerd out about something ballet related, and 5 Moons is one of my favorites. So we may not have a big crowd tonight, but I'm counting on you to be an ambassador in your friend group to communicate what I'm about to tell you. You're responsible for this information now. I did not grow up in Oklahoma. I grew up in Indiana, and that is where my journey of ballet nerd began. And I wanted to know everything about ballet. And in fact, this has a relationship to the library. This was pre-internet, so I spent a lot of hours watching PBS. And I checked out so many library books about ballet that I memorized the call number. I'll know for the rest of my life, 796.2. That's ballet. So as I was studying, I read a book about George Balanchine, the famous innovator that started New York City Ballet. And in it, George Balanchine, the pictures were like of an old guy in a plaid shirt, which was fine. But as I flipped through, I saw a picture of Maria Tallcheek, which is one of the 5 women that you're going to hear about later. And I was instantly mesmerized. In fact, she had on the Firebird costume that you're going to see Jessica show us later. And unlike some of the other pictures that I've seen of ballerinas, this ballerina clearly embodied power and self-reliance that I couldn't even describe as a 10-year-old, but I recognized it. I could see in the picture that she was proud and unique and powerful, and this began my exploration of the 5 Moons. So I started learning about the 5 Moons, which are 5 indigenous ballerinas who are from Oklahoma and or connected to Oklahoma, that really just rewrote ballet history in the United States and the world. At the time, Oklahoma seemed like some exotic, faraway place that I couldn't even picture, let alone imagine I'd go there someday. I started reading biographies and watching video clips, newspaper articles, and I read more about what these women endured and persevered in a way that lit a fire in me. So, outside of the rigors of ballet training, they were affected by sexism, racism, all kinds of sort of obstacles in addition to just the sheer difficulty of ballet training. And I just thought if they could persevere and create amidst those circumstances, I could too for sure. And my story is not unique. I'm one of countless dancers and humans inspired and transformed by their talent. Ballet historians like to say that George Balanchine is the father of American ballet, which is probably true, but if that's the case, then the 5 Moons are definitely the collective mother of American ballet. They're a mother in every sense. Ballet was birthed, nurtured, raised, cultivated, and managed in their leadership, not only as dancers, but later as teachers, founders, and leaders at dance institutions, including Oklahoma City Ballet's Columbia Von Shoto School, is and Yvonne Scherzo. So Maria Talchi is probably the one most people recognize. She, oh, he's got a picture for doing Firebird, that's the one. So she was a real trailblazer. She was sort of the first of the 5 women to obtain celebrity. So she was born in Fairfax, and actually her family is part of the Osage Nation and was part of the recent book Killers of Flower Moon, that whole section of history. Her family was impacted heavily from that, meaning they had a lot of oil money, which enabled her to obtain a level of training that she would not have done otherwise, but also was very scary for her to leave her home on her own and go out into the world, to be sure. She was the first American to perform with the Paris Opera Ballet, and sometimes when we say that, I don't think people realize that she was literally a teenager. She started when she was like 14, moved to Los Angeles to study ballet with her sister Marjorie. Right after she graduated high school, she moved to New York City. And her first job was apprentice with the Ballet Russe, and she traveled all over Europe. They tried right away to get her to change her name, and even as a teenager, she stubbornly refused. She was like, I'm a Talchi, you will have to get over it. Which is pretty amazing to stand up to a group full of grown men telling her what to do, and she said, no plans for your Talchi. She danced with the New York City Ballet and is sort of the muse of George Balanchine, and was the person a lot of famous ballets were created on, such as Firebird, but also the Nutcrackers. They use up to this day. A lot of those roles were choreographed and inspired by her. After she retired from dancing, she started the Chicago Ballet. So the Chicago Ballet still exists today. One thing that's unique about all of these women is that a lot of people retire from dance and they're like, well, dance is a hard life. I'm going to move on and do something a little easier, a little more lucrative. And nope, all of them chose to reinvest in communities and spread sort of quality of ballet education, which is remarkable. So next we have her sister Marjorie. So Marjorie Talchi was also born in Fairfax and performed with American Ballet Theater and the Ballet of Monte Carlo. She kind of followed in her sister's footsteps. She was actually born in Colorado. That's a little bit of a misnomer there. She was born in Colorado because they were on a family vacation. So some historians say that she was born in Oklahoma, except for her family lived, but they were actually in Colorado. She performed with the Chicago Ballet, the Harper's Ballet, and the Paris Opera Ballet. After retiring from dancing, she was director of the Dallas Ballet and director of the Harris Conservatory, which is a really famous, prestigious ballet school. And actually the co-founder of the Chicago Ballet with her sister. She was really famous for her role in Romeo and Juliet. Her acting was said to be top tier and really nuanced, especially in some of the tragic parts. And she was very sort of open about the tragedy that impacted her family and Osage Nation, really informed her understanding of portraying loss. I do have a special archival item to show you related to Marjorie Talchi. So Marjorie was at Oklahoma City Ballet previously. Actually, I think if you ask people all over the country what Oklahoma is famous for, they would be like, oh, you maybe, or Thunder. The Thunder right now, Superstars, Oil. But people in the ballet world, like this is the center of so much excitement. So when Marjorie was here, someone requested some pictures for her that had been taken in Paris. Please leave it in class. This is the letter requesting the pictures, and these are the pictures that were sent. I'll pass them around. They're beautiful.
So she lived to 95.
Yes.
And what was the date on the first one?
Let's take a look.
She kept in shape.
Yeah. All of them kept teaching and taught in some format their whole lives, which absolutely contributes to their longevity, for sure. And actually, Maria and Marjorie, they look somewhat like, they did not really dance alike. Maria was known for being sort of like aggressive, assertive, fiery, and Marjorie was much more known for being sort of softer and more nuanced, which is kind of interesting to me. Okay, next we have Muslim Larkin, or Musia as she was known. That was her nickname. Her mother was Russian, and her dad was from the Roshan Peoria tribe. Again, at 15, she joined the original Ballet Russe, first as a soloist and then as a ballerina touring through Europe and the Western Hemisphere. She also danced at the Ballet of Monte Carlo. After retiring from performing, she and her husband formed the Tulsa Civic Ballet School, now called Tulsa Ballet Theater, which still exists. Lucille was admired admired throughout her professional career for on-stage magnetism and exceptional twists and turns, which was very unusual for a woman at the time. At that time, women were mostly prized for being able to dance in point shoes, and Jessica has a beautiful broken-in pair, and I have a new shiny pair. These actually belong to my daughter, so I can't be too loud with them. But I think when you see someone dance and then you assume they're very sort of supple and forgiving, and they're not. Oh my. They're hard as a rock, and what breaks it in is the strength of your foot. Wow. So your foot sitting inside it is toes like this. And the shoe, as you'll see when you come around to you, it is not magic, it's just incredibly stiff, and the strength of the ballerina's foot is what sort of breaks it in. As I mentioned before we started, about $150 a pair. Most dancers go through 4 to 8 pairs a month.
Gosh.
Yes.